Well, there's an old saying, something about rain on your wedding day. It should be good luck, right? Well, we're hoping for good luck this season. We thank you all for coming out today. I'm Patrick Pearson. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Wild Adventures Theme and Water Park. And on behalf of our nearly 600 team members and 400 animal ambassadors, thank you for coming. Some of you know that the office of Governor Brian Kemp informed us late yesterday that he would not be able to make it here today. That's the bad news. The good news is that our program will be a lot shorter and we can all get to lunch soon. Seriously, please keep the governor in your thoughts and prayers. Apparently he was exposed to someone who has tested positive for COVID, and following protocol, he needs to quarantine for 2 weeks. Governor Kemp, however, did send us this video message.
This is Governor Brian Kemp. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you today. I want to apologize for that, but I also want to congratulate Wild Adventures. 25 great years of providing great entertainment in Valdosta, Georgia, and really serving our state and this whole region of the country. Congratulations. I'm very excited about your new addition to Wild Adventures. I know it's going to be awesome, and remind everyone of your humble beginnings and how much you've grown and prospered over the years. We just thank you for being in Georgia. God bless, and I hope to get down and see you soon.
And we thank you, Governor, for sending us that message. On April 3rd, that's this Saturday, Wild Adventures will open for its 25th season. Isn't that amazing? Time truly does fly when you're having fun. This season will not only be an anniversary season, it will also mark the return of concerts in the All-Star Amphitheater. 3 weeks ago, we announced our concert lineup, which includes country star Dustin Lynch and my personal favorite, the world classic Rockers, which is made up of former members of Journey, Leonard Skinner, Boston, Santana, and Steppenwolf. That means they're going to play all those songs from those bands. And John, I just want to let you know that I won't be in uniform that night. I'll be rocking out with these guys. Next up is in the concert series is the Christian band for King and Country, who, as you may recall, had a big hit last year with our friend Dolly Parton. In July, we'll host a band that may have more hits in the early part of this decade than any other. Train will be here on July 17th. Comedian Bill Engvall will be here later in July. Then we'll have one more classic rock act that we're teasing you with that we will announce soon, and they'll be here on July 31st. The concert season wraps up with Christian rock band Skillet returning for their 11th year on August 7th. But wait, there's more. We now have the answer for anyone looking for something to do on those hot summer Friday nights. We are pleased to introduce Dive-In Movies in our water park. A full schedule of movies can be found on our website. And as the marketing guy, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the best way to see every concert, Dive-In Movies, Halloween, and Christmas is to get a season pass. And get it now, because it'll pay for itself in just 2 visits. Okay, end of commercial. Let's get on with the regular scheduled program. First up speaker is my boss, John Vigue, our new Vice President and General Manager for Wild Adventures. John took the leadership position here back in October, and I think when the park opens, you will see quite a few changes that reflect his vision for the property. Please welcome John Vigue.
Thank you, Patrick. And, I want to really acknowledge him and his team for putting all this together today. Certainly it had a lot of moving parts, and really appreciate what you and the team did. What a great day for Wild Adventures and Hershon Family Entertainment. We are honored to host so many leaders from around the state, our region, and our local community. I'll do my best to acknowledge each of you, but if I miss someone, I apologize in advance. Chairman Bill Slaughter is here representing Lowndes County, and we will also hear from him shortly. I believe that we have a few county commissioners here as well, and I will ask them to stand and be acknowledged. Valdosta Mayor Scott James Matheson and several city council members are here as well, and I will ask them to stand now and be acknowledged. We are also pleased to be joined by our fantastic partners in enhancing this community. Dr. Richard Carvajal and his team from Valdosta State University. Please stand and be acknowledged. I would also like to formally welcome some visitors from our Property Support Center. Andrew Wexler, CEO of Hershen Enterprises, is here. He will have a few words for us in a minute. Also, Carl Lum is here, our Chief Operating Officer, and Steve Hollowell, our Chief Marketing Officer of Hershen Enterprises. With all of these chiefs here, you have to know that this is a big occasion. Thanks, guys, for being here. There's also a group of Wild Adventures team members seated over here to your right that I'd like to recognize. Each one of these folks have been with us since Hershen Enterprises acquired the park in 2008. Please come up to the front of the stage when I mention your name and pick up your award. Chris Kilpatrick. Chris is our zoo curator and a team member who has been here for all of our 25 years. He is also the person who has done much of the labor in building the attraction we will unveil today. As someone who has been here since the beginning, I know that this project had special meaning for Chris, and he really poured his heart into it. Thank you, Chris. We're very pleased to be joined by a familiar face to anyone who has ever attended a concert here. Tony Padron. For most of the past 25 years, Tony was Wild Adventures Entertainment Manager. He could often be found at the front gate greeting our guests with a bright smile and a park map. If you ever attended a concert here, Tony probably helped you find your seat, but he also was helping behind the scenes, writing, producing, choreographing, and directing many, many shows over the years. Thanks for coming, Tony. Debbie Allen. Come on up, Debbie. Debbie has been working in our zoo operations team since 1994, and for many of those years was the primary caregiver for Shirley, the Asian elephant. Debbie pours her heart into her work with our animals here and is a huge asset to our team. Thank you, Debbie. Dennis Helming joined the team in 1996, also in the zoo operations. He later transferred to the entertainment department where his creative talents were a better fit. He built sets and designed and constructed animal exhibits. One of Dennis's more recent creative projects is right behind us, with the 25th anniversary topiary and elephant and giraffe statues. Great work, Dennis, and I love your work, and I thank you for all that you do. Cassie Landis. Come on up, Cassie. Cassie started at Wild Adventures the year before the acquisition as an accounts payable clerk. She was promoted several times and now serves as our senior finance manager. We rely heavily on Cassie's attention to detail and her passion for the park and what she does. Thank you, Cassie. Cindy Romero. Last but not least, right? Cindy is a true Wild Adventure success story. Cindy began her career in 2006 as a humble ride operator. Over the years, she has grown into several leadership positions and even led the attractions team during the filming of Zombieland. Recently, Cindy was promoted to Director of Attractions, where she leads all of the ride operations at this property, among many other things. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you again, guys. We could not have gotten here without you. Definitely. Thank you very much. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work that has gone into getting Wild Adventures ready to open this weekend. Everyone on the team, all of those that you see today wearing blue shirts and many others, have worked very hard to implement a plan to put a shine on this park and get it ready for opening. From ride rebuilds to painting, to landscaping, to new signage, to recruiting and training new employees, everyone has played a part in making this property shine. Please join me in thanking them for all of their hard work and dedication to our property. Celebrating our 25th anniversary is not just about us. It's about the community we serve. That's why our leadership team has agreed to participate in a program we call 25 Acts of Service. We have always been committed to serving our neighbors, but you will see even more of us in the community this year. Our 25 Acts of Service includes roadside cleanups, reading to children, serving meals to the less fortunate, and much, much more. I could not be more proud of our leadership team for their desire to serve this community. None of us would be here today if it weren't for the vision of one person, Mr. Kent Bisher, founder and former owner of Wild Adventures. We're very pleased that Kent agreed to join us today. Kent is a can-do guy. He and his family and friends took a humble petting zoo and grew it to become one of the premier theme and water parks in the United States. And he did it in record time. Liberty Farms Petting Zoo opened in 1996. Kent added the first ride just 2 years later. He added the water park in 2003, and the rest, as they say, is history. We all owe a debt of gratitude to Kent, and my friend, we have a little surprise for you. If you will look to the right of the silo, in the back there, you will notice a mysterious black cloth. Please go ahead and remove the cloth. We are pleased to present this bronze plaque to the Bisher family that will stand in perpetuity at this spot. The plaque reads, "Celebrating 25 years, the dream of Wild Adventures theme park began when Kent Bisher and his wife Dawn opened Liberty Farms Petting Zoo on this plot of farmland in 1996. Thanks to Kent's vision and overwhelming support from the community, the park transformed rapidly, adding rides and roller coasters beginning in 1998 and the introduction of Splash Island Water Park in 2003. Wild Adventures was purchased by Hershon Family Entertainment in 2008 and has continued to grow and serve our region. 25 years after welcoming its first guest, Liberty Farms has returned as an important reminder of our history, which began with families spending time together, having fun, learning more about this incredible world we live in, and creating memories worth repeating. As we look forward to the future of Wild Adventures and plan for its continued success, we're inspired by the past, by this spot where it all began. Now, I'd like to welcome Kent to say a few words.
Thank you, John. I got to tell you, it's hard to believe it's been 25 years. It all started really just as a farm. It was an overgrown tobacco patch when Dawn and I bought this, and we started adding things. And it wasn't long, but it got to be really a neat place. And we started hosting school field trips. And then other people wanted to come out and be able to enjoy it. So we decided, in an Olympic year of all things, that we would be part of Georgia tourism and open this as an animal park, which we did. That was 25 years ago. Hard to believe it. But we couldn't have done it without a lot of help. We started with a very small core group of people. Mike Corson, John Thompson, Sean Powell, Danny Dubose, Dennis Hemlin, Tony Padron, Michael Jetter, Kim Jansen, Bob Brabham, Shanna Garner, and there were probably a couple of others, in addition to some great folks working construction for us. Throughout the time that Dawn and I owned the park, it was a labor of love. We worked long, crazy hours, and I have to thank Dawn and my daughter Kara, who willingly gave up time with me to allow me to be able to do this. And our team worked just crazy hours. I mean, I remember you get up and you come in at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and after the last guest left at about 11 at night, you began to do the finishing things you needed to do. And many times it was 2 o'clock in the morning. When finally left, you go home only to crawl out of bed the next morning and do it again. But people ask me what it was like to be here. What was it like to run a park like this? I said, well, it's kind of like being the mayor of a city, except every day our constituents left. They went home. And the next day a whole new crowd of people moved in. And but we were blessed. We started very humbly. I remember our first day, our attendance with, had grand visions, and we had a grand 128 people show up. And it's like, whoa, we got a lot of work to do. But the park grew. And as we added attractions, it continued to grow. We were blessed, with attendance that was approached 1.5 million people. Peak day attendance, there were so many times we had traffic that was a little more than we bargained for. You'd have 25,000, 30,000 people show up to come to Wild Adventures. I remember one such Saturday, very hot Saturday, I might add, but we had people, I left for a bit, had to come back. As I got driving down the interstate, I'm looking at them going, why are all these cars pulled over on the side of the road? And then I realized they're going to the park. And they were lined up that way all the way down Old Clyateville Road as people were trying to come in. And people parked everywhere in those days, before we had really somewhat adequate parking sometimes. But, what we tried to do was just help people have a good time. I remember our pass was such a bargain for families throughout South Georgia, North Florida, and beyond. I had one lady one day say, I want to thank you. Say, every year my parents give us a gift, me and my kids. I'm a single mom. And they give us a gift of this pass. And this pass, it provides the only entertainment my kids get. And we're here every week. We come to the concerts, we come to the shows, we laugh at the same jokes at the shows. We have a great time. But it's people that make this park. It's people that helped us build it. I remember Tony and Dennis, boy, amazing. Dennis we would start to build an exhibit, and he said, let me have my touches to it. And he would go round up a pile of junk. I mean, old chairs, chicken wire, and you would look at it and you'd go, oh my God, what is fixing to happen? But a few weeks later, you would go by and it would be magic. And you're wondering, how did he do it? But it's because of raw talent, and we were blessed with that. When we first tried to figure out after a year of Liberty Farms and we decided to add rides and started putting them in, we're going, well, yeah, that really doesn't go with rides and stuff. What are we going to do? So I took our management team, it's about 5 or 6 of us by that time. We sat around in a conference room and brainstormed names. And I think maybe Dawn's brother Mike came up with an idea that we were tossing it out, and he said, what about Wild Adventures? Because somebody's talking about it's going to be an adventure. And then he made this wisecrack joke, and he said, back in those days, Busch Gardens ran this thing. It was Busch Gardens, Tomple. It was James Earl Jones' voice. And Mike imitated much better than I do, and he goes, Wild Adventures, Clyateville. Anyway, so here we are, Broken Down Tobacco Patch, Clyateville, Georgia, just outside of Valdosta, has entertained millions of people and brought people and families together. And Dawn and I are so thankful that you've given us the opportunity to come be a part of the 25-year celebration today. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless you, and God bless every one of all these folks. As I've talked, I do regularly with the marketing team here and get to talk to them and help them with some printing stuff. And when I was talking to Adam Floyd, I came out, we were looking at some things we were going to do, and he said, you've been working in the pizza parlor. I'm thinking, really? What you doing? Construction, rebuilding it, turning it into something else, a new name. And I thought, boy, that brings back memories. I remember all of us. And the night before we opened, we leave about 5 o'clock in the morning, I think, go home and change clothes and come back. But those folks that did that, and every day did that, every weekend, to help people have a good time, and still doing it today. Thank all of you. God bless you.
Thank you, Ken. always great to hear your stories. I try to have lunch with Ken about once or twice a year, and I just never want to leave him. I love hearing the stories about this park and how it grew and all the things that happened and all the people that have visited this park. Next up is Andrew Wexler. He's our Chief Executive Officer of Hershon Family Enterprises. Come on up.
Thank you, Patrick. And thank you to all the employees that were honored today. As mentioned earlier, we couldn't do it without you. The property really is a sum total of all the great work of all of the team members. So thank you very much. Today is an exciting milestone for Wild Adventures, and I'm honored to be representing Hershon Enterprises. Now, for those of you who don't know Hershon, we're a family of companies focused on family entertainment. We like to develop wholesome and immersive family experiences for the entire family. We began as a cave tour in 1950, a family-run business in the Ozark Mountains in southwest Missouri. Today, we're a multi-business enterprise, over 10,000 employees, and we have global reach. We entertain about 14 million guests a year at our live experiences, millions more through our animated shows all over the world. But still true to our roots, we remain family-owned, privately held, and we're considered the largest family-owned themed attraction company in North America. Now, some of our signature brands you've probably heard of: Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, the Harlem Globetrotters, Chuggington, and we're fortunate to operate Georgia's own Callaway Gardens. In 2008, we were blessed to welcome Wild Adventures into the Hershon family of companies. In fact, I joined about 7 days before the acquisition closed. And I remember as a young parent driving down 75 on our way to Florida and seeing the iconic billboards and wondering what was the park like. But when I finally got a chance to tour the park, I was amazed by the size, the scale, and the quality of the property. And for the past 13 years, we've had the pleasure of building on Kent's vision and continuing the legacy and story of this great park. We've invested about $15.5 million in capital since the acquisition, and we're very proud about our largest investment, which is the outpost here behind us, which we did last year or 2 years ago. Try to forget 2020. At Hershon, we believe in investing in our properties, but it goes beyond dollars and cents. We take great pride in our culture, a culture of love, where love is an action and a choice. And we believe that the guest experience will never exceed the enthusiasm of our hosts. So if we're going to exceed guest expectations, we must have a great place to work for great people. Now, Wild Adventures remains one of the largest employers in Lowndes County, and all of our team members at Wild Adventures are local residents. And in fact, some of you probably have worked here yourself or have a friend or family member who's currently or has in the past worked to make memories worth repeating for us. And our impact on the state of Georgia extends well beyond Wild Adventures. Georgia is the home of our corporate headquarters. We call it our Property Support Center. It's in Peachtree Corners, which is north of Atlanta. It supports our operations in 25 parks, attractions across the country. And also, Georgia is the home of the Harlem Globetrotters, surprisingly enough. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we operate the historic Callaway Gardens in Pine Mountain, Georgia. And the business environment in Georgia is strong, it's positive, and we're proud to be a part of that. Georgia is a great state for business. Now, finally, as we prepare to open this weekend for the 21 season, I want to acknowledge John Vigue, our general manager, and all of the team members who have worked tirelessly to make this property ready for opening. I mean, it looks fantastic. And I'm excited for our guests to experience the new Liberty Farms petting zoo behind you. This project represents what Hershon is all about. It's an opportunity for us to pay tribute to the heritage of this great park, but more importantly, for us, it's a place for families to make lasting memories. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Andrew, I promised not to give you a golf cart ride. The last time Andrew was here, I stopped a little fast and threw him off the back of the golf cart. Molly said I should get my resume together. We are very pleased to also be joined by Mark Jaronowski. Did I pronounce that right? No? Is that okay? Did I butcher it? Jaronski. There we go. He is the Deputy Commissioner for Tourism at the Georgia Department of Economic Development. Mark is a 25-year travel and tourism leader who worked for 16 years with the Walt Disney Company. You might know them. They're an owner of a small parks south of us. In his role, he oversees the state's official destination marketing organization, which works to advance $69 billion tourism industry that support nearly 500,000 jobs. Welcome, Mark.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try and do this Kent style, no notes. I did make a few notes, but I hope to just share a story or two. As a former Disney cast member who spent a long time there and sort of grew up professionally in the attractions business, as well as a kid who grew up in New Jersey going on Friday nights to Six Flags Great Adventure and seeing the concerts over the summer, it's really a thrill to be here. As a parent, like Andrew, I too have driven 75 many times and wondered what it would be like inside these gates. So I'm so thrilled to be here. I appreciate Patrick's invitation to come share in this great event. And 25 years in the making is a fabulous event. And it's great to be here. So, during those 25 years, Wild Adventures has become a core part of Georgia's tourism. And as Patrick mentioned, Georgia's tourism economy has a $69 billion impact annually. If we go back just to 2019, like Andrew said, we try and forget 2020, but we'll talk a little bit about 2020. Just 2 years ago, tourism produced a $69 billion economic impact off of about $39 billion in actual travel spending by visitors. That employed nearly 500,000 Georgians, hardworking Georgians who power our tourism economy, like the team here, and really all of our leaders across the across the travel and tourism industry statewide. As we mentioned, it almost happened overnight, but 2020 was the toughest year our industry has ever faced. I mentioned $39 billion a minute ago. That was travel spending directly spent in our economy by visitors. Well, $12 billion of that was lost last year in 2020. Almost a third of all travel spending didn't occur. So when you account for the direct, the indirect, the induced spending, we don't know just yet what the impact was in a total economic perspective from an impact standpoint to the state, but we know it was dire last year. If it were not for the actions and decisions by Governor Brian Kemp, our General Assembly, our elected officials, our business and community leaders, it could have been a lot worse here in this state. But luckily in the state of Georgia, we were given the license to operate, to meet our customers' needs, just like Kent talked about in the first 25 years and just like the team does today. I'm so inspired by the fact that you all are opening this weekend. As the tourism director for the state, I'm excited about it. It's a clear hallmark that the 2021 season is off to a great start and shows a tremendous amount of promise in helping restore that visitor spending, restore jobs. As a state tourism office, we are riding along this wave and are about to launch a new campaign, a new statewide tourism campaign targeted at both Georgia residents and our border states and beyond. We've designed it in a way that meets, we believe, the moment that visitors and consumers are in right now as they return with renewed optimism around vaccines and the desire to travel. We call it Ready, Set, Georgia, playing off of the phrase Ready, Set, Go. And we believe that it addresses each phase of the travel mindset right now, from those who are planning to those who are ready to go. And you'll start to see that roll out here in the next month. And again, you'll see it here in Georgia, but it will also be targeted at visitors coming from out of state. I'm also proud to announce today that in honor of the 25th anniversary and in recognition of the important place that Wild Adventures holds in our state tourism economy, we're about to publish the 2021 travel guide that is distributed around the world. And starting last year, we chose a myriad of photographs to exhibit and demonstrate all that Georgia has to offer to visitors. And this year in 2021, Wild Adventures will be pictured on the front cover of the Georgia Travel Guide. So when you see that, I'll let you guys figure out which picture is Wild Adventures, but I have no doubt that that you'll identify that very quickly. So as we look to 2021, we know there's pent-up demand. We know that the optimism from the rollout of vaccines is very strong. But we think that this has high prospects for Georgia as a state and for South Georgia in particular, as we're coming off a year where residents and tourists have rediscovered the great outdoors and the American road trip. So very confident that the coming months and the coming years ahead are nothing but prosperous for Wild Adventures, for South Georgia, and for the state of Georgia. We'll be there to support you as a partner statewide and help create some of that demand and send as much of it as we can to South Georgia and to Wild Adventures. I'd like to thank the leadership here at the park. I'd like to thank the leadership from Hershon for allowing me to be here today. I'd like to close on just a brief attraction story that might be appropriate for this group. So when we opened Disney's Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World in Orlando more than 25 years ago now, on Michael Eisner, the then CEO's first trip down to the park, the operations team was so excited to give him a tour of the savannah, and they didn't realize that one of the bridges was not operable at the time. They got out there, they got stuck, they had to turn around. It was a bit embarrassing for the team. And since that time, they've used a term called Ride the Ride Path as sort of a rallying and teaching moment for the team. Make sure you get out there, you do a dry run. Well, if the last 25 years here at Wild Adventures wasn't a demonstration of riding the ride path and being prepared for the next 25 years, I don't know what is. So you guys are in such a great position. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this celebration. I'm so excited for your future. I can't wait to see this team over here in another 25 years, right? Congratulations, thank you for having me. And these are memories worth repeating, right? So I look forward to getting back here and repeating it myself with my own family. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mark. That just made my day to hear that we're going to be on the cover. That's big, guys. That's a big deal, and we're very excited about that. It's now my pleasure to introduce Lowndes County Commission Board Chair Bill Slaughter. Bill's a local business owner and very active member of the community. In fact, I think he's at every meeting I go to. He's including in many civic groups, trade associations, and community boards. Please welcome Bill Slaughter.
Thank you, Patrick. Certainly the Hershon family, we certainly appreciate your investment in this community. 25 years, who would have thought? Kent and Don's vision originally with Liberty Farms, and then here we are today with a premier park in the Southeast. We've talked a lot this morning about investment. I want to tell you about another investment that we haven't talked about. The state of Georgia had an opportunity through our legislators a couple of years ago to be able to levy, through a choice of the citizens of this community, a 1 cent sales tax for transportation. We were able to pass that through an 18-region county effort in our area. And let me say, just the investment that specifically benefits Wild Adventures, and this is how important it is to Lowndes County, $27 million worth of transportation investments the widening of Old Clyateville Road all the way from the interstate here, the paving of the dirt road, Brixton Road, which will bring folks in coming from the south, as well as Clyateville Kinderloo Road that will allow folks to come in from the west. So we as a community, we believe in Wild Adventures. We are so appreciative of the economic impact that Wild Adventures has to our community that we are making investments as well. And that is the key to any success story, is total and complete investment by everyone. So again, thank y'all for your visions. Thank you for your continued growth and through those investments. And this community as well supports you and will continue to invest also. With that, I've got a proclamation I'd like to present. John, if you and Mr. Wexler would like to come up. The proclamation states, whereas Wild Adventures is celebrating its 25th anniversary and the opening of its season on April the 3rd, and whereas Wild Adventures is 3 parks in one, a theme park, water park, and zoo, and whereas Wild Adventures also has an amphitheater with a capacity of 12,000, where each year touring artists are hosted, and whereas Wild Adventures is also home to Splash Island Water Park, named as one of the top 30 water parks in the country by U.S. News and World Report, and whereas Wild Adventures is ranked as the 5th most affordable theme park in America, and whereas Wild Adventures is home to 35 thrilling rides, including 6 roller coasters, and whereas Wild Adventures is home to hundreds of exotic animals, including whatever, which one is that? Capybaras. Now you've tried to figure out, I had to pronounce that. There's no more from South Georgia. Alpacas, rays, squirrel monkeys, zebras, lions, tigers, alligators, a rhino, and giraffes. And whereas Wild Adventures hosts 600 to 700,000 guests in a normal year, with 51% coming from Florida. And whereas Wild Adventures is a valued community partner and an important part of Lowndes County's local economy, and whereas Lowndes County is honored to be home to Wild Adventures and wishes them many more years of fun and success. Now therefore, I, Chairman Bill Slaughter, on behalf of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize March 30, 2021 as Wild Adventures Day in Lowndes County and call this observance to the attention of our citizens. So proclaimed this 30th day of March 2021. Jim.
That was really nice, Bill. Thank you. Well, now would have been the time that I would introduce my friend Andy Gibbs. Andy has been instrumental, or was instrumental, in trying to get the governor here, and he was going to introduce him. Andy is actually he's a city councilman, a Valdosta city councilman who represents District 6, but he's also a STEM teacher at Valdosta Middle School and founder of the Miracle League in Valdosta. Andy worked really hard to get the governor to come to Wild Adventures, and we just wanted to say thank you for your efforts. And we appreciate you, and we have a little gift for you. Thank you. We also want to thank our friends at VSU for turning us on to Laura Byers, who's been our sign language interpreter. She's done a great job. Thank you very much, and we have a little gift for you.